Hello YouTube and welcome to another video. I just finished reading this book, Barbie Takes the Catwalk by Karan Feder, The Style Icons History in Fashion. I really recommend this book. I think it's a very good book. And I wanted to share some of my opinions and some of my overall thoughts on Barbie fashions. And there were some points in this book that um, made me think about the discourse I see in the Barbie collectors community when I am part of it in like some Facebook groups and when I watch some tall collectors on YouTube, and I wanted to share some of my thoughts and opinions. Now, this book compares Barbie fashions to actual fashions and looks at fashion history and how Barbie has followed the trends and which trends they have followed and which trends they haven't. And there are lots of comparisons of real clothes and Barbie clothes. I'm obviously not going to show you the entire book. I'm going to show you some of my favorite outfits. Then compare real dresses, like real iconic fashion designer dresses, to dresses that were then made for Barbie. And they have a look at how Barbie has followed fashion trends in history. Now, this isn't like a super serious, in-depth fashion history book, but it is done by someone who is very knowledgeable about fashion history. And there has been like a clear, distinct amount of research that has gone into this. There are some points that the author makes that I personally absolutely don't agree with. For one, in the beginning here, they say that it is more difficult to single out trends that competently define the style statements of the ambiguous 2000s and 2010s. Now, I don't personally agree with this. There's more in the beginning of this paragraph that I do understand, but I don't think it's impossible to define the 2000s and 2010s fashions. I think people are already starting to do that, but I think there hasn't been enough time. Enough time hasn't passed for us to confidently do that, and I think that's the problem. They say here the common fashionable trends of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s are decisive. It is more difficult to single out the trends that completely define the style statements of the ambiguous 2000s and 2010s. Now, I don't think they are as ambiguous as the author thinks, so I don't agree with that part personally, and there were some other parts that I don't personally agree with, but I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and opinions. Now, something I have seen people complain about, I feel like a lot, but maybe I'm exaggerating, but I feel like people complain about the fact that Barbie fashions nowadays are too safe and they used to go a lot harder and they weren't so afraid to follow the trends and everything wasn't so suitable for children and babyfied. But here we have this comparisons of these two fashions that are inspired by each other according to the author's interpretation. And here you can very clearly see that, like, this is much more risque. There's nothing underneath that cape. And for Barbie, they have just done this little mesh here. So this, I think that this is much more safe and it suits the doll, but I don't think Barbie making fashions safer is a new recent thing, and there are other examples of this here as well. Now with this fashion as well, like the original is very risque. I'm almost afraid what YouTube is gonna think of it, and the Barbie version is much tamer. Uh, and it's really nice, and it still looks like clearly inspired by this dress. So I don't really understand when people talk about Barbie fashions that used to be edgier and sexier. Now, what I think they really talk about are my scene fashions, because I think my scene fashions tended to be a lot edgier and sexier. I have two of my own examples here. My bling bling was very sexy, and there are other examples of my scene dolls that don't have like such short skirts. Like, oh my god, with Chelsea, yeah, you can see her underwear. But yeah, like her skirt is very tiny. I think the reason people think that Barbie used to be a lot sexier is because they think of My Scene. Also, Barbie as a character does exist in the My Scene universe, but she's a completely different character. She exists within her own universe and she has her own friends and her own life. And I think Mattel did end up removing her from the line because of that confusion with the other Barbie. And also Barbie in the My Scene era maybe also had a little bit of that influence as well. But overall, I think Barbie has always been a little bit safer when adapting current fashions. And I feel like that book also backs my feelings up on that. Another thing that I was really thinking about when I was reading this book is the quality of Barbie fashions and the quality of Barbie dolls in general. Now, you will find 155 videos on YouTube comparing the quality of Barbie dolls and talking about how the quality of Barbie dolls has gone down. And this is such a frequent complaint in the collectors groups as well. People complain about the quality all the time. And I'm not about to disagree with the fact that Barbie's overall quality has declined. I have, this is one of the newer Barbies that I have, and this is from the 2021 Christmas calendar, I want to say. No, it's newer. It's from the 2022 Christmas calendar, maybe, or 2023. It's one from one of the Christmas calendars. I think I got it a year late even. And I will say that the Christmas calendar had way too much plastic, but I still like the fashions in it. And I still like the fashions that she's wearing. She's wearing the fashions from the Christmas calendar, and she's also wearing the fashions from a Christmas calendar, although she's a much older doll. But she is my only Barbie without the bendable knee, without the little snap in the knee. And this is one of those things that people bring out when they talk about the declining quality of Barbie. And I do agree that I miss the bendable knee so much. I wish they brought it back. Like, the reason I don't buy any of the fashionistas, even though some of them are really cute, is that they just don't have enough articulation. But I don't buy any of them. And if I would only buy one that I would really like. But I also feel like there is some selection bias here. Because if we look at this book of beautiful dolls, they don't cover every doll that ever existed. And back in the back of this book, they do talk about the collector whose collection this is. And I believe the collector has like a vast collection that they might actually own loads and possibly all of the fashions from certain time frames. And there is some selection bias. Okay, I rambled way too much in the next part, so I just decided to make a voiceover to try and express myself more clearly. So I do agree that there is definitely a quality decline in Barbie. And some people claim that the Barbie quality decline actually starts earlier than from the 90s, but I have only started collecting basically in 1999 is when I got my first Barbie. So these are my very earliest experiences with Barbie. So I can't talk about the earlier stuff. But when I talk about selection bias, here's what I mean. If we compare the Barbie Deluxe style dolls with, for example, the You Can Be Anything Barbie teacher doll, then both of these dolls are playline dolls, and both of these dolls are surprisingly similar in price point. Like, the difference isn't that much, at least here in Estonia. I know that the prices in America are vastly different from the ones we have here. But they're both playline dolls, and here they're roughly in the same price point. and they're completely different quality terms. The deluxe line is so nice and so pretty. I like a lot of their fashions, I like the looks of their faces. Meanwhile, the poor teacher dolls, a lot of her clothes are painted on, or a lot of the details of her clothes are painted on, and she only has the 5 points of articulation. And I kind of worry that in 15 years, someone is gonna take this Barbie Deluxe line that they loved as a kid and make a video talking about how the Barbie quality has declined, because look at this beautiful Barbie Deluxe line that they used to make, and then compare it to whatever the ugliest thing that Mattel is putting out at the moment is. And I'm hoping I'm not sounding like I'm just trying to defend Mattel, but I see these kinds of comparisons a lot where people compare Barbies from Barbie catalogs, which Mattel puts their best products in these old catalogs. That's already like the best stuff, or they're comparing it to like these iconic dolls that everyone loved at the time and everyone wanted even at the time, and they're comparing it to like the I Can Be Anything line, which isn't comparable in my opinion. So I really hope that in 20 years, in 15 years, no one is gonna compare the deluxe line to whatever thing that they have then and be like, oh yeah, but Barbie quality used to be so good in 2025. Look at this, it used to be so good. And that isn't to say that the quality hasn't gone down. I think it's much fairer to compare like the old Totally Hair Barbie and the new Totally Hair Barbie, even just because Mattel themselves are making that comparison. So it's totally fair to rip them apart for that one, in my opinion. Something I wanted to talk about that I was thinking about was the fact that I see a lot of complaints about the fact that Barbie isn't following fashion trends anymore as closely as they did back in the day. And obviously, this book doesn't go into the 2010s or 2000s, but I was thinking about it, and I feel like people want Barbie fashions to be as good as they used to be. But what Barbie is doing is that they're following fashion trends in a sense that the quality of the clothes is declining and the fast fashion is getting worse and worse and worse, and everything just looks not as good anymore. You can see YouTubers talking about this trend in film industry. I just saw a short somewhere talking about the fashion in the new Legally Blonde prequel, which, why are we having a Legally Blonde prequel? But they were talking about how the fashions just look cheap and like they're from Shein. And I can totally agree, but like this is the trend and it isn't a good thing, it's a horrible thing. But sadly, Barbie is following the trends in that fashions are getting cheaper and the quality is getting less and less good. Also, oftentimes they talk about style, but I feel like style is so subjective and everyone has their own opinion. And I also wear a lot of alternative fashion and I don't really keep up with the trends, so I'm not the best person to talk about it. But I do like a lot of the trends and I don't think they're as outdated as people make them out to be. I think the problem often is that people want Barbie fashions and Barbie designs and Barbie quality to be as good as it once was. But the thing is that Barbie is following the modern trends in a sense that fast fashion is getting worse and worse and worse. Um, and Barbie is reflecting that. So they're still reflecting the fashion industry in the same way that they have done. It's just that the thing that they're reflecting is not very good. And I don't think I've seen people talk about it, but I haven't watched every video on YouTube. So if someone has done a better video on this, I'm sure that's possible. Leave me your links in the comments down below. I also wanted to point out that in this book there is a Target exclusive 1992 Barbie, and because of the deluxe Midge doll, I've seen so many people complain about the fact that they're doing these Target exclusives that are hard to find, and why are they doing Target exclusives? And I don't like that either, because we don't even have Target here. but I just wanted to point out that this isn't a new thing, because I feel like some people are really acting like that's a new terrible thing that showcases how badly Barbie has fallen, and I wanted to point out that they have done this previously for a long time as well. And I just wanted to show some of my favorite outfits from the book. This one is my absolute favorite. I actually considered buying it. It is available on eBay. There are a couple of listings. I actually think that this one looks better than the original that it's inspired by. And I would love this dress. I would want it for my Barbie. I would want it for myself. I absolutely love it. They also have some of the Fifth Avenue styles, and I am so nostalgic about them because this my first Barbie dress for my first Barbie was from this line, and I just think it's a great line, and I love this outfit as well. Also, at the end of this book, they flip the script and show some dresses that were inspired by Barbie instead of Barbie being inspired by them. And there is this dress, and this is the original. But I was looking at this dress and thinking that I think the angelic pretty Barbie collab dress might be inspired by this one as well. Like the bow is really, really similar. I almost feel like it's a mix and match of both of these dresses. What do you think? I'll put the angelic pretty one on the screen as well. Then I think something really cool about this book is that they have all the models listed in the back. And I think my favorites are this Living Barbie from 1970 and this Twist and Turn Barbie from 1966. For older Barbies, I would really love to have one of these ones that have eyelashes, and I really, really love their faces as well. So I would love to have a repro. I would love to have a reproduction of these one of these days. I don't think I necessarily would have to have the original, but yeah, I definitely recommend checking this book out. Definitely get it from your local library like I did, or buy it. It's really heavy. It's a real brick, but I definitely recommend it. But I just wanted to talk about some of my thoughts. Um, and if you disagree, that's totally fine. If you wanna catch more doll content by yours truly, then make sure to subscribe and leave a like. And I'll see you in another video.